There was a time when EDP445 was simply one of the loudest personalities on YouTube. Millions of people knew him. His videos were raw, unpredictable, offensive to some, hilarious to others, and almost impossible to ignore. He built an audience by being completely unfiltered. But in 2021, everything changed. A confrontation outside a building in Bakersfield, California, would transform EDP445 from a popular internet personality into one of the most controversial figures on YouTube. His career collapsed. His channels disappeared. And his name became permanently connected to one of the darkest controversies in internet culture. But what actually happened to EDP445? And how did someone with millions of viewers end up almost completely isolated from the platform that made him famous? EDP445 was the online name of Bryant Moreland. He became known primarily for his passionate Philadelphia Eagles commentary, outrageous reactions, personal stories, comedy, and profanity-heavy videos. His personality was the product. He didn't speak like a traditional sports commentator. He didn't behave like a traditional celebrity. He talked directly to the camera and often said whatever came into his head. That unpredictability became his advantage. As YouTube grew, so did EDP445. By 2021, he had built an audience of more than 2 million subscribers. For many viewers, he was simply the crazy Eagles fan who could turn a football game into an unforgettable rant. But behind the viral clips and comedy was another side of the story. There had already been concerns about the way he interacted with younger members of his online audience. And eventually those controversies would become impossible to ignore. Before the controversy that would ultimately end his career, EDP445 had already faced public scrutiny over his online interactions with younger members of his audience. In 2020, reports emerged about separate incidents involving individuals who presented themselves as minors online. These earlier episodes did not immediately end his career. His audience remained. His videos continued, and EDP445 continued building his online identity. But the internet has a strange way of allowing controversies to disappear until something bigger happens. That bigger moment came in April 2021. A group known as the Predator Poachers conducted a sting operation in Bakersfield, California. According to reports at the time, the group presented themselves online as a young teenager and communicated with Moreland. The group then confronted him in person. What followed was recorded on video, and that video would become one of the most damaging pieces of footage associated with his career. The confrontation quickly spread across the internet. Moreland was questioned about messages exchanged with someone he believed to be underage. During the confrontation, he acknowledged that he knew the person's age. He also attempted to explain why he had been communicating with her. The footage became viral. People who had never watched EDP445 before suddenly knew his name. For millions of viewers, the way they saw his online persona began to change. But there is an important distinction that must be made. The incident was investigated by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. However, EDP445 was not arrested or charged in connection with the incident. That doesn't erase the public controversy surrounding the encounter, but it is important not to present allegations as a criminal conviction. The internet, however, had already reached its own verdict, and the consequences were immediate. The EDP445 brand was built almost entirely around one thing: his personality. So when that personality became controversial, there was nowhere for the brand to hide. The backlash exploded across social media. Old videos resurfaced. Old accusations were discussed again. Memes spread. Commentators reacted. And the audience that had once helped make EDP445 famous became part of the force pushing him away from the platform. His YouTube presence collapsed. His original channel was removed. The man who once had millions of subscribers suddenly had no comparable platform. This was more than losing a YouTube channel. It was the destruction of an internet identity that had taken years to build. But losing YouTube didn't mean EDP445 disappeared. Like many controversial internet personalities before him, he attempted to maintain an online presence. He appeared through other platforms, archived material, social media accounts, and smaller online communities. Some people followed him because they genuinely remained fans. Others followed because they were fascinated by the downfall. And some simply wanted to see what he would do next. This created a strange situation. EDP445 was no longer the mainstream YouTube personality he once was, but he was still an internet celebrity, just for a completely different reason. His name had become part of internet history, a cautionary example of how quickly online fame can disappear. For several years, the story remained mostly part of internet culture. Then in 2026, EDP445 returned to the center of public discussion. Filmmaker Mike Klum released a documentary titled The Sick Mind of EDP445. The documentary examines Moreland's life after the scandal and gives viewers a closer look at the person behind the infamous online persona. The film premiered on YouTube on August 9, 2026. Its release immediately reignited discussion surrounding EDP445. The documentary does something that short viral clips cannot. It gives the story time to examine the past, time to look at what happened afterward, and time to ask a much bigger question. What happens to a person when the identity they built online completely collapses? The story of EDP445 isn't simply about one viral confrontation. It's about internet fame. It's about accountability. And it's about how easily millions of people can turn an ordinary person into a celebrity. And how quickly those same millions can turn against them. EDP445 built his career on being impossible to ignore. And eventually, the internet made him impossible to forget. But there's another lesson here. A viral video can capture a moment. It cannot explain an entire life. That's why the story deserves to be examined through documented events, verified reporting, and careful distinction between allegations and facts. Because when millions of people are watching, the difference matters. So what really happened to EDP445? He went from a controversial but highly successful YouTube personality to one of the most infamous names in internet culture. His career didn't disappear because of one single moment. It was the result of years of online behavior, controversy, public backlash, and ultimately a confrontation that changed everything. Today, EDP445's story continues to attract attention because the internet never really forgets. The videos disappear. The channels disappear. The fame disappears. But the digital footprint remains. And perhaps that's the most important lesson of all. On the internet, you can lose your platform overnight, but you may carry your reputation forever.